I don't know if I'm coming or going today. It's been a day. So, we need to get talking here about my books. What do we do? Where is it? Okay. We are talking about Final Cut. Book 1 or 17 and a half. It depends on how you look at it. It's, so this is book 17. And we did this the other day. This is book 17 and a half. It's a big book. It's over 400 pages, and it took several hours to read today. And then book 18 is Power Play. And then, of course, we got 18 and a half. So, we are talking about the Final Cut. It's the introduction of a new character who's going to have his own series. Short-lived. 2, 4, 6 books off the top of my head. So there's only 6 books a series. But for a couple of years there, Catherine did the 2 books a year. She wrote this one and this one. It was both published in 13. This one comes first. And if you watched my video the other day, I read the introduction paragraphs in here for this one. And I wanted to welcome you to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, K-R-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy schmancy stuff going on here. And I've got lighting issues again. But I wanted to thank some couple ladies. And I did this the other day and I left one out. And I went back and went, oh shoot, I left her out. So let me go back to it. So, Trudy and Selena and Z. So this is my scrolling list of supporters. I've seen other channels, they have scrolling lists. This is my scrolling list. These are my supporters. The 3 ladies that watch my channels. Thank you. The rest of you, thank you. Thank everybody that watches my channel. So let me get to this because my head is 6 ways to Sunday right now. Alright. So, Nicholas is a British agent with Scotland Yard. And the book starts off the same way. Alright, it has its differences, but the same way as when Sherlock met Savich. When Sherlock met Savich, they were doing a training exercise at Quantico. Nicholas is doing a training exercise in Scotland, or England, actually, it's England. It's Scotland. It's a long story how that happened, but, it's Scotland Yard, but Scotland Yard is in England. And he's doing a training exercise, and his boss is pissed off at him that he cheated in the exam. It was a hostage situation negotiation, and he cheated, and he saved the hostage, but he cheated, and his boss is pissed off that he cheated. And I'm like, in this type of real life situation, it doesn't matter as long as you get the hostage out alive. And his boss was all over him about it. And in the middle of all this, he gets this phone call that a coworker who was working in the United States, in New York, was shot dead. And she was a close friend of his. So he, screw you, jumps on a plane, goes to New York to start investigating her murder. And it leads into a whole thing. So we have Sherlock and Savich play guest starring roles in this. This takes place in New York and in Switzerland and in Paris and here and there. They do a lot of traveling. So let me see if I'll go through my notes a little bit because there's a couple of different aspects to it. We have the dead Scotland Yard person, right? But they're also here for that big diamond thing that was talked about in this. And I read those passages to you in this video. So go back to it and watch it if you didn't. And And so they're here for the big diamond show. And the guy calls them, the guy that's in charge of security says that they got this call from this guy out in Arizona. He has 2 genuine replicas. They're replicas. And he calls these people and he says, my replicas have been stolen. So that automatically leads them to believe that the real diamond in the museum under guard has been stolen. And this woman with cameras watching, they do the old testy westy, I don't know, and it comes up that it's not real. Later on, spoiler alert, we find out that she faked the test, but we don't find that out for several chapters, and that's a big spoiler alert. So, everybody thinks the genuine diamond is missing, so now we gotta find the genuine diamond. Now we gotta find the lady's killer that got killed. They have this big gala opening, and they're like, well, the fake one is there. The average normal person's not gonna know that it's the fake one. And we'll go through it and we'll continue investigating and see what happens. Well, during the opening, our thief steals the diamond. Has the whole thing planned out to the second. Gets away with it 100%. They discover that the diamond that was there that was said was supposed to be fake is actually the real one. And the clever person that stole it got away with it. They got a job in the museum. They learned the security procedures. They learned the museum stuff. They studied art, blah, blah, blah. They moved up the ranks to supervisor, blah, blah, blah. And they got themselves in a really good position. And they were able to pull this whole thing off. And they escaped clean. And they have a buyer that's paid $50 million. $25 million in advance. And another 25 upon delivery. And things start to go wrong with our thief as she goes to meet with the buyer. And apparently this diamond has magical properties. Supposedly it's 1/3. This diamond was split into thirds for Victoria way back when. And if you haven't seen the Prime Victoria, I don't know if it's still up there in that, but that was a good series. So, the diamond was split into 3 parts, and if all 3 parts are put together, it has magical healing properties. And there's a huge twist at the end, and you'll find out it's a little bit hinted at during the book, but the ending is a big twist. So, apparently, let me see if I can find it now. The author, she has this thing at the end here. The KOHINOOR. Say it aloud, pause for a moment. Do you feel the feeling of warmth of light bathing your face, or perhaps the pull of something you don't understand? But you know it's in the deepest part of you, the part that recognizes magic? Where's my light? There you go. There's my light. Sunlight. Imagine this incredible stone was once 793 carats, the size of a man's fist, the prized possession of the god Krishna. Now imagine betrayal and curse passed down through the ages that promises death, chaos, and destruction to any man who tries to keep the Koh-i-Noor close. The stuff of legend, you say, but in truth the Koh-i-Noor did indeed pass from bloody hand to bloody hand, and always devastation follows in its wake. A long ago Sultan had the Koh-i-Noor cut from 793 carats to a mere 186. It came to Queen Victoria in 1850, and it was she who wanted to shine it up. The massive Koh-i-Noor 793 carats ended up 105 carats. That's its size today. The final cut is based on fact, which I have created is the personal Langan family legacy passed down from father to son for generations. Legends claim the Koh-i-Noor diamond belonged to the great god Krishna until a treacherous servant stole it from him while asleep, and thus was born the curse. He who owns this diamond will own the world, but will also know all its misfortune. Only God or woman can wear it with impunity. Other stories have the Koh-i-Noor discovered in a riverbed 3000 BC along its pink sister, the Dari-i-Noor, residing today in Iran. The first time the Koh-i-Noor appears in written history is 1305. A stone weighing an extraordinary 793 carats is passed from hand to hand as regimes rise and fall. Always coveted but never bought or sold, only gained through conquest. In the 17th century, Emperor Whoever, the last of the great Mongol leaders, wanted to impress a French gemstone expert who was searching the East for rare and special stones. He gave the Italian guy the task of polishing the diamond for the visit, and he bungled the job and he cut it to 186 carats. In 1850, the Maharaja, the last Maharaja of Lahore, the youngest son of the Lion of Punjab, was dethroned by the British, the County Punjab annexed. He forced to hand over the Koh-i-Noor to the British as part of a treaty of law. However, Dunleap Singh wasn't imprisoned or mistreated. He was feted by British security and became a favorite of Queen Victoria. In 1851, Queen Victoria displayed the Koh-i-Noor to the British public. However, the 185-carat diamond hadn't been changed since the voyage bungling 2 years before, and it looked ugly and dull. So the Prince Albert had it polished. But anyways, back to our little story here. So Sherlock and Savich also help with the investigation into the missing diamond. Savich, if you know from the story, his grandmother was a great paintist, and her paintings are worth millions now. And they encounter a mobster who collects art, and he may or may not have Savich's grandmother's painting, so they have to look for that. So there's some mob action in here because the mob guy was into art. And then we have the art thief who's selling it in Paris, and we end up in Geneva, we end up in Paris, we end up in England. The story takes traveling times. So we have Nicholas and his friend gets killed in New York. He comes to New York to help investigate the murder. And the murder kind of takes a backseat a little bit to the diamond theft. But then it's discovered that a third party had come in and tranked her, and then she died of drowning. And the guy that was working for her was shot and killed, but he was tranked before he was shot. And the investigation leads to the mobster people, and they search the mob, and they have some situation there with the art guy. They do a little speed chase through New York, and it's cute how this lady was paid $1,500 to pretend to be the thief. And she's like, I didn't do anything. She just told me to wear these clothes and take this taxi to this place. And she got $1,500 for doing that. So, like I said, the thief gets away to France, and things start to go. The buyer some things happen in the buyer's life, and he gets more and more desperate for the diamond, and she's thinking of maybe two-timing the buyer, and she's setting up all these different things, fake accounts, fake bank deposit accounts, and stuff like that. But then we've still got the mobster stuff going on. We still got that end of it, and who killed the chick and what was going on there. So those are your two cases, but these two cases, unlike previous books, these are 100% meshed with each other. The two cases are totally combined. We've had books where this case and this case, and they stay this case and this case, and at the end maybe they merge. And in some other books, we've had two completely separate cases, but the characters have intermingled. Sherlock and Savich will have a case in DC or Washington or whatever, and then there's another case someplace out, and they'll go and visit this place, or this place will come and visit them, and maybe the characters will intermingle, but they stay two separate cases. But this particular book, the cases are intermeshed completely. Both the cases, the two different cases, are 100% meshed, so it's one big, huge case. So, and we get to meet a few new people, and they'll be the new start of the series for book 2. So this is book 1, this is book 2, and in the meantime, we have Power Play. So it's, our reading order will be, we did Bombshell, check that out, and we did Final Cut. We're going to come back to Power Play, and then we'll do The Lost Key. That's how our reading order is going to be. If you haven't seen Bombshell, please go back and check that out. And I have tons of notes. Really important history of the stone takes place in chapter 19, if you want to check that out. The Diamond Thief has a version of the stone on 133. And there's another history of the stone on chapter 62 on page 281 through 285. And the thief's background and childhood is on 290. And I highlighted it in yellow, but my printer's out of ink, so it did it in orange. So we'll see what happens. But hey, where is it? I have to go find it. Don't forget to check out Flashback Mondays, and don't forget Star Trek Fridays, and If Then Friday afternoons. And look for Power Play in a few days. I have something else I want to get to first, and then we're going to get back to Catherine. And I still got to get back to Ursula. I want to find out what happens with Ursula. I'm waiting for Matthew to show up. So we'll see what happens there. I hope you had a good day. It was a really warm day today. So have a good one.